Well, let's begin with the setup. We're taking out the board. Each player chooses a color. We'll take green and blue. In a two-player game, each person gets 4 agents. We'll place our green agents here and our blue agents here. And we'll place one here and here. We'll now place the scoring markers have the building stack. We'll place our 3 buildings. 1, 2, 3. We're drawing 2 quest cards. Place 3 of these on each space. Well, here we have the sequence of play. At the start of each round, remove the victory point tokens from that space of the round's track and add 1 victory point token to each face-up building in the builder's hall. Then resolve any start of round effects on buildings in play. If this is the 5th round of play, each player gains 1 additional agent located near round 5 space. Each player takes turns, 1 at a time, starting with the player who has the first player marker and proceeding to that player's left. When all agents have been assigned and possibly reassigned from Waterdeep Harbor, the round ends. All players' agents return to their pools. The game ends after 8 rounds of play At the end of the 8th round, perform final scoring for each player. Well, here are the actions in a turn. During your turn, you have agents available to assign. You take one or both of the following actions. Assign an agent, complete a quest. Assign an agent, place one agent from your pool on an unoccupied action space of a building. You cannot skip your turn if you have agents available to assign. If you have no agents left to assign, you cannot take a turn. Play proceeds to the next player until all agents have been assigned. Reassign an agent. After all agents have been assigned in the round, each player with an agent in Waterdeep Harbor reassigns that agent to an action space. Players reassign agents in order, starting with the action space numbered 1. After assigning or reassigning an agent, you may complete one quest by paying specified numbers and types of adventurers or gold. Final scoring. At the end of a game, each player counts up victory points and advances his or her scoring marker accordingly. Each adventure in your tavern is worth 1. Every 2 gold in your tavern is worth 1. Lord card is as specified on the Lord card. The player with the most victory points after final scoring is the winner. In the event of a tie, the player with the most gold wins. Well, hello, this is Robert with you. As you can see during the setup, I'm going to be playing a 2-player game solo. And everything is set up, we're ready to go. The first player marker is with the silver stars, the blue agents over here. Well, just who are the silver stars? These devoted champions of the moon goddess, that's Selûne, tirelessly work for freedom and peace, even between long-standing enemies. They despise slavery and abhor the undead. Well, let's take a look and see who or which lord we have allied with this organization. We have Kelvin Arnson the Blackstaff, the master of Blackstaff Tower. The accomplished wizard Kelvin is famous for founding and then abandoning numerous organizations. At the end of the game, you score 4 victory points for each Arcana quest and each Warfare quest you completed. So we definitely want to have this side going after those Arcana and Warfare quests. In our starting quest, we do have one Warfare quest here, and this one is a Piety. Over in the main questing area on the board, let's see if we have any Arcana or Warfare quests. Looks like we have an Arcana quest there in the upper right, so we'll probably try to claim that one if we can. Well, next, just before we start placing agents, let's take a look at our Intrigue cards. We have this card, it's a utility. It says take 2 warriors from the supply and place them in your tavern. Choose one opponent. That opponent takes one and places it in his or her tavern. The other Intrigue card is Lack of Faith. It's an attack. Each opponent removes a cleric from his or her tavern and returns it to the supply. For each opponent that could not do so, you score 2 victory points. As we begin round 1, we need to take these 3 victory points and place them on each of the 3 buildings here in the Builder's Hall. We also need to look if there are any buildings that require us to take any actions at the start of the round, and here we see that at the start of the round we need to place 1 cleric on this building. So we'll take that cleric and place him there. Now we're ready to place our first agent. Well, let's begin the game by taking our first agent and placing it on a building on the board. As we have our first agent, let's take a look at what the different buildings do. We have the Builder's Hall, and it says we can choose one building, pay its cost, which is up here, like this is 8 gold, this is 4 gold, 4 gold, and we can take that building and become its owner. We also get to take any victory points that are on it. But you place that over on the side, indicate that that's your building, and that can be another location that you or your opponent can travel to in the future. A little more on that later. Over here you can see the Aurora's Realms shop. You place an agent there, you're going to get 4 gold to add to your tavern. And then here is Waterdeep Harbor with 3 agent spaces there. If you play an agent there, you can then play one of your Intrigue cards. Moving up a bit, if we place our agent at Castle Waterdeep, which is here, we become the first player. We get the first player marker, and we gain an Intrigue card. It doesn't allow us to play it, but we gain another one for our hand. If we go here, the Plinth, we gain ourselves a cleric. If we go to Blackstaff Tower, we gain a wizard. If we go to the Field of Triumph, we gain 2 fighters. And if we go to the Grinning Lion Tavern, we gain 2 rogues. My final choices come from the Cliffwatch Inn. If I go to this first space, I can take a quest card from the 4 quest cards at the top and also gain 2 gold. If I take this space, I can gain a quest card and draw an Intrigue card from the deck. And if I go to the last space, I actually wipe all 4 of these quest cards off the board, put them into the discard, and then place 4 new ones and take one of my choosing. If you remember from my Lord card, I gain extra victory points for Arcana and Warfare quests. This is one of my starting quests, and to get the reward here, I'm going to need 1 cleric and 4 warriors. So I need to start collecting these resources. But I also gain extra points for Arcana quests, and that's why I might place my agent here on the first turn. Over here, I think I'm going to place him here, and that will allow me to take the Arcana quest off the board. I replace it with another one, which is actually another Arcana quest, and I place this over in my active quest area, just like this. In addition to the quest card, we also gain 2 gold to place in our tavern. We'll put it here. That's going to give us 6 gold. Well, here are the Harpers. Let's take a look and see who they are. The Harpers are represented by the green colors. And the Harpers were founded ages ago by elven leaders with the council of the legendary wizard Elminster. This secret society fights for individual freedom while balancing the needs of civilization and nature. Well, let's take a look and see which lord we drew to ally with this faction. We have Durnan the Wanderer. A retired adventurer, Durnan owns the Yawning Portal, a tavern that stands above an entrance to Under Mountain. At the end of the game, you score 4 additional victory points for each commerce quest and each warfare quest you completed. So we're going to be competing over warfare quests with the other player, Blackstaff. Our starting quests are Skullduggery and Piety. So neither one of those are going to be of benefit to our Lord's special ability. Our Intrigue cards. Tax collection. Take 4 gold from the supply. Each opponent can choose to pay you 4 or once to score 4 victory points. The other one is Good Faith. And take 2 clerics from the supply and place them in your tavern. Choose one opponent. That opponent takes 1 cleric and places it in his or her tavern. Well, let's grab our agent and place them. Looking at one of my quest cards, I'm going to need 2 clerics and a fighter and 2 gold. I also know that I have this Intrigue card that I can play later to gain the clerics I need. But where to get the fighter, I believe that's going to influence the placement of my first agent. I'm going to take him up here. Representing the Harpers, we're going to take 2 fighters and place them in our tavern. So here's our tavern along with our 5 gold. And that will end the Harper's turn. We're back to the Silver Stars. Time to place our next agent. Scanning my quest cards, I see that I would benefit from picking up a purple cube, a wizard. So why don't we take our agent over here to Blackstaff Tower, and we will pick up a wizard to place into our tavern. Well, it is now the Harper's turn. Time to place our green agent. We're going to go to Waterdeep Harbor, which will allow us to play an Intrigue card. The Intrigue card will be Good Faith. We take 2 clerics, put them in our tavern, but the Silver Stars, the blue faction, will also get 1 cleric as well. We are in the business of miracles, and business is good. So 2 clerics into the Harper's Tavern, and 1 goes into the Tavern of the Silver Stars. And this Intrigue card that we just played now goes into the Intrigue discard pile. After assigning an agent, you are then allowed to attempt to complete a quest. Well, Durnan the Wanderer gives his orders. Protect the House of Wonder. Defending Mystra's temple demonstrates devotion. We need 2 clerics and a fighter and 2 gold. We have 2 clerics and a fighter, and we have 5 gold. Let's change this out. That's going to give us 3 gold in change. So spending those resources, we put them into the general pool again, and this quest is completed. We gain a reward of 8 victory points, and I believe this is a plot quest, so it's going to stay with us. Whenever you complete a piety quest, you score an additional 2 victory points. That's great. So down here where it says completed plot quests, we're going to put this one here. And then we move up, and it's time to score the green faction, the Harpers, 8 victory points. 5, 6, 7, 8. So they pull into the lead. Back to the Silver Stars. I'm looking at this quest. We need a warrior, a rogue, 2 wizards, and 4 gold. We've got a wizard already. This would allow us to get the warriors necessary, and we do have 4 gold. So what I may do now is try to collect one of these black resources, the rogues. So I believe for my next agent placement, we'll place our agent here and take 2 rogues and place them in our tavern. Well, back to the Harpers, the green faction. we could try to go after this quest. It's going to take a number of rogues, but as we saw in the previous turn, the other lord took the space that allows us to collect the black resources. So maybe we need a change in strategy. We need to go after another quest. Due to this previously completed plot quest, whenever we now complete a piety quest, we can score 2 victory points. I think what I'll do is take my agent up here, place the harpers there. That's going to allow us to draw an intrigue card, which is an ambush. Each opponent removes a fighter from his or her tavern and returns it to the supply. For each opponent that could not, take one from the supply and place it in your tavern. And then I get to take a quest card. I think I'm going to take this piety quest. And that will allow us to gather some resources, and as time goes on, at the start of each round, we get to take a resource of any color and add this to our tavern. But we have to complete this quest first, so we're going to need to gather 2 clerics, a fighter, a rogue, and a wizard to defend the Tower of Luck. We'll now place that quest over here in our active quest area. Well, it is now time to place the Silver Stars agent. I believe I'm going to place their agent here in the Builder's Hall. It says choose one building, pay its cost, and put it into play. I'm going to choose Spires of the Morning. It costs 4 gold. To buy this building, we need to take 4 gold pieces from our tavern. The building has now been purchased, and we have a when purchased effect. It says that when this building is purchased, you place a cleric on this space. As we purchase the building, we get to take the victory point and put that into our tavern. And then we move this building over to the side. Our first building will be placed here in one of the building spaces, and we need to indicate that this building belongs to the Silver Stars. So we'll place this token here. This indicates that this building belongs to them. Now that we have a Builder's Hall space empty, we need to draw a new building and replace the tile that we just purchased. We're back to the Harpers, the green faction. We're going to place our agent here in the plinth to take a cleric and put that into our tavern. Now, as you take a look at the board, all agents have been placed. But here comes a special part of the rules. When you have an agent in Waterdeep Harbor, they're numbered 1, 2, and 3, and you play them in this order. You get to reassign this agent. You get an extra turn. So the Harpers get 1 more agent placement, and I cannot put him back here. I have to put him somewhere else on the board. I believe what I'll do for the last agent placement is place them on Castle Waterdeep. This allows the Harpers to now become the first player. They get to go first in the next round. I place this in their tavern, and I get to draw an additional Intrigue card, and I get to choose and take from the supply any one of the following. Nice. That will end round 1. When we begin the second round, we'll follow the same pattern, withdrawing the 3 victory tokens, placing them on the buildings, looking for any buildings that generate resources at the beginning of the turn, and start placing agents again. Well, I hope you've enjoyed my first Lords of Waterdeep video. As many of you know, most of my content is geared towards solo gaming, and this is my very first attempt to play Lords of Waterdeep. So what I've shown you here is my initial understanding of the rules and my first attempt to play through a complete round. I plan to continue this series, playing through the different rounds, playing aggressively with each side. Of course, I will be learning along the way, and if those of you that have more experience with the game, if you want to share your corrections, your strategies with me, that will not only help me but anyone else that may be viewing, so that's greatly encouraged. Perhaps by the end of the game I might have some end of game comments, as I usually do, and those might include any corrections or oversights on my part, and any particular strategies we may have picked up along the way. So I hope you'll stick with me. Thanks again for watching. This is Robert signing off. I'll catch you for round 2 very soon.